quickly. He's trying to grab lunch, believe it or not. Instead of dinner, he's grabbing lunch because he's so late in the day and getting started and doing all that kind of fun stuff. So,
Wow.
anyhow, yeah. That's what I said too. Wow. I mean, it's going to be 8 o'clock his time, and he's trying to grab lunch. Yeah.
So, hey man, that's part of being a business owner.
That it is. And a granddaddy. He's a great granddad. No, not great grandfather. He's a great person who's a grandfather. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So exactly. There you go. Anyhow, hey there, hi there, ho there, out in Spray Wash land. As we get started here, Ray will be joining us here in just a few minutes. He's just grabbing lunch, as we were talking about, because his it should be dinner. So maybe he gets to have lunch, and then maybe that's why he's going to be late. He's grabbing lunch and dinner to make up for not having lunch earlier today.
2 meals, man, right in a row.
Two meals right in a row. Why not? Might as well get it done. So anyhow, we're going to do a little bit of a series, we're going to call it, that is not just about the huge convention, but obviously we're going to talk about the huge convention. But we want to talk and get to know the owners of the huge convention, a little bit more about them. And so tonight, our guest is Jonathan Maynard. He's been on here before, and he is one of the owners of the Huge, but he's not just an owner of the Huge convention. He's also in the wash industry and got a couple other businesses. So that's kind of what we want to talk about, to understand that the Huge convention isn't just about the Huge. It's not what their sole focus is. They actually have businesses that they run, and the Huge convention is something that not only help further their business, but to help further yours. And that's kind of where this whole thing is kind of coming from. And again, Ray will be joining us in just a few minutes. But Mr. Jonathan, why don't you tell us a little bit about you again, and a little bit about the different companies that you have, and maybe just a little bit about some of your visions for what you see with your companies and with the Huge convention.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my wash business, Red Door Pro Wash, back in 2016. And I started it because as a homeowner, I got super frustrated that companies were unable to provide good customer service. I was calling around trying to find people to do work on my house, and you call 3 or 4 companies, nobody's going to answer you back. You get maybe a guy that answers you. Maybe, he comes out for a quote, doesn't give you a quote. It's the whole situation. Mm-hmm. And, later I understood that it's probably because you just had an overwhelmed set of business owners that don't understand processes and systems and things like that. And it's easy to get overwhelmed that way. So started that company, and I've grown it now. We have a great guy, Jason, that runs the company for me. I've now mostly exited. I run the level 10 meetings once a week to keep my hands kind of in that company, and just keep my finger on the pulse as we continue to expand, add different locations, things like that, and make sure that the vision and the mission that I had set forward is going the way that I'd like it to go. Yeah. And after that, started Red Door Lighting Company, which is a Christmas light company. We also do landscape lighting, things like that. And that has seriously taken off. As you know, any Christmas light company, you can do $1 million in Christmas lights without, I'd say without a ton of trouble. It's kind of hard to get there, but you can do a ton of money in Christmas lights. So do that. And then about a year ago, I started a flooring company, and it's called Solid Garage Floor Coatings. Myself and actually 2 of the owners of the Huge, Jared and Sid, also have locations. It's kind of Jared's brainchild. He's located in Denver, and it's essentially a license agreement. And we're really kind of doing an experiment with this company and seeing how fast we can scale. And with unlike a soft wash company, you can get to $1 million pretty easy. We've done that in our first year. We're projected at about 1.2 million this year, which is crazy because that's actually a crew and a half.
Oh wow!
That can do that kind of volume. Yeah.
So how many people are in a crew?
2 or 3, depending. You can do a 500 square foot garage with 2 guys. You can do it with 1 guy. It's it's difficult, but you can knock out a 1-day floor with 2 guys, 600 square foot garage, not a problem. You just have to have the right equipment.
Mhm.
Margins are good, but there's also 30% cost of goods that you don't have in a wash business because you have to buy the epoxies,
Right.
resins, and flake and stuff like that. And equipment's very expensive, but great business to get into. And then my other company, my final company, is actually my consulting company. I do EOS implementation, do a lot of strategic consulting, helping business owners get unstuck from that like most people get stuck about $1 million. I help business owners get unstuck from that, and then currently helping 3 or 4 companies right now that are in that 5 to 7 million,
Mhm.
helping them scale to that 10 to 15. That's your next, your next big hurdle after that $1 million mark.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people are realizing, but they don't realize the depth of it. And that is, I can't tell you how many times I get guys that are, they're in the 100 to $200,000 range, and they can't get past that. And then once they get past that 200,000, it's like they bust out to 500,000. And then when they get to that 500,000, they're stuck again from that 4 to 6 range back and forth, and they can't get past that. And then once they get past that, boom, they bank up to about $1.25 million. And then, they're stuck again, kind of a thing. And there's all these different levels that you have to be able to flow and be able to change and realize that there are so many different facets, as you go through. It's not just peaches and cream the whole way through the entire process.
No, it sucks like at every level.
Yeah.
And I experienced that just in my wash company where, I experienced the same hurdles like 2 and 5 and 750 and $1 million.
Mhm.
And it's overcoming it. And look, I wasn't a business owner. My background was in IT, and I did various things, but I didn't have the experience as a business owner to really understand. And so I was doing a lot of just, on the job learning.
Mhm.
Once you know how to wash, you can wash, and there's always stuff to learn there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's that the business intricacies that really people don't tell you about, or there's so many Facebook gurus and internet gurus out there that they're teaching people how to get to $1 million, and they haven't done it, or they're
Right.
teaching people how to break past $1 million, and
They're not even
they've
doing
never.
100,000.
Yeah, and I don't get that, but that's neither here nor there. That's fine. They flesh themselves out pretty quick.
Well, I will say this. I mean, one of the things that I learned a long time ago, and I knew a guy who was a mechanic, and he was I mean, this guy could tell you top to bottom how to do anything. He really could. He was super knowledgeable about, auto mechanics, but put a wrench in his hand and he couldn't do it. He screwed everything up. And
Mhm.
so I do know that there are guys that they don't necessarily have to do the business, so to speak, to know how to operate, but that's few and far between. So for the most part, most guys gain their knowledge from actual doing and the hands-on and the learning and the training and the thises and the that's and all that kind of thing. And so it is something that we see a lot of, where guys get into business, they've been in business for 6 months to a year, and all of a sudden they're growing their YouTube channels or whatever it is. And that's really what it's about. It's not about the actual business side of it. And when you look at some of the advice they give, you're just like, oh my goodness, kind of a thing. So, and then,
Because yeah, there's a lot in business that's counterintuitive.
Mhm.
That you think, okay, this is the way it should work, and then you try to implement, you realize, okay, that doesn't work, and I don't know why. And you have to find somebody that's kind of been there, done that, a good coach that's kind of been in the trenches and
Mhm.
understands.
Mhm. And the value of a coach, I think, is something that is also, you get a lot of people that will be negative on coaches and say, they're just not worth it, kind of a thing. But that's because they've never had a coach, or they, I want to say they took the negative approach with their coach to begin with, right? It's $700 a month, or it's whatever it is per month, and it's so much money, and he's just parroting. They're taking the wrong approach to it. And if you take the right approach to it, and I've had guys that call me up, yeah, this person is my coach, and what do you think about this? Because it's like, well, did you follow any of their advice? Did you listen to anything? Those kinds of things, and if you don't have an open mind to it, then why start down that path? I'll even go this direction. You might find this surprising for me to say, but the huge convention isn't worth going to. It's not. If you're not the biggest thing about the huge convention that I see so often, guys taking 1,000 notes and then doing nothing with them. I just had this conversation with somebody else. If you're going to take a crap load of notes and then do nothing with them, if your intention is to go to the convention and not implement anything, then don't even go. It's pointless, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's what they need. It's like reading a book and not putting it into practice, or doing the thing and not putting it into practice. And this is really what I think was the fundamentals of my success, because I attended the huge convention as an attendee before we bought it. And I went in with a very clear intention of finding no more than 3 things that I'm going to go and implement. And I'd find the things. And, by the end of the commit, I had notes, but it was like, okay, what are and just circle the 3 things. Here's what I'm going to do. And that's basically what it was. Because if you try to do too much, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get overwhelmed, and you're not going to know what to do. So you pick those 2 or 3 things, and then you just do it. And then you move on, you do something else the next year. And what I like that we just started, I think it was 3 years ago, and the quality is getting better and better each time we do it, is the breakout sessions where we record those. They're $99, and you get every one of the breakout sessions. And then you can go back, especially in the wintertime, and just watch those. Watch somebody that you were like, oh man, what did they say about, this marketing thing or this leadership thing? And you just take it and you watch it, and because we bring the best teachers in and out of the industry to help educate people, because that's really what the huge convention is about. And that's our vision, is for it to be an education platform for any small business, any small service business. We're not going to teach you how to pressure wash the thing. Now, in a pre-show class like Spray Wash Academy, you guys are doing pre-show classes. If you want to learn technical stuff, you can go there and learn some technical stuff. And this year, we're actually adding a classroom right on the floor, and we're going to put some employee technical-ish type training there. But for the most part, it's about the business owner, their key employees, their leaders, their sales leaders, coming and learning how to execute better on the business.
Yeah. So you're at, I'm going to say, in your wash company, you're over $1 million a year, correct? Okay. In your lighting business, you're over $1 million a year. Or not?
Yeah. Yeah, we're kissing it.
Okay. And then in your flooring coating, 1 year old, it's already over $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and each of those, what are your goals or plans or growth opportunities for each one that you see as pushing forward? And what have you learned from running those 3 companies that you think would be like super beneficial to anybody that is looking at either one of those 3 paths?
Yeah. Honestly, leadership is the key. Growing as a leader. I think that's, my vision for it. Hey, Ray.
Hey, guys. So sorry I'm late. I apologize.
Yeah,
that's
no
all right.
problem.
See, here you are.
My vision for it is honestly to create companies where both the employees and the owner wins. Because a lot of times you have a company where the owner wins and the employees lose out, or you have an owner, and I've seen this so many times, where the owner is just such a generous person that they just give everything away, and now the employees win and the owner loses. So
which typically ends up being a failure in the long run.
Yeah, because you can't sustain that. So my goal is to create these companies where everybody wins, where our clients win, where our vision is to become the most professional, most profitable exterior cleaning company in the nation. That's going to be hard. Is it possible? Yes. Will it happen? I'm going to die trying. But that's what I really want to see. Now, I'll probably 5-6 years, I might get swallowed up by private equity, take an exit, not sure, but
Mhm.
I'm going to grow the company up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now it runs itself,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to put in minimal effort, but I've been there, done that, working 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, trying to build this thing, and just blood, sweat, tears, and I think that's what it takes
Right.
to build a successful company. But there has to come a point where you're like, okay, let me start delegating.
Right. Well, they're one of my favorite philosophers, Bon Scott of AC/DC, said it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. And, I think that's probably one of the bad things of social media and a lot of people getting on here and seeing oh my gosh, we make $3,000 a day. We make $500 an hour. We make, this and that. And then guys like, Doug and you and me who've actually had very large successful companies out there, we've certainly put our time and our due diligence into it. And we've had those 12, 14, 16-hour days, And then you go into something like the huge convention. And this is something that Doug and I have seen, I'm sure you have as well, that when you actually take part in these formal type trainings, you can cut that learning curve
Tremendously.
Whereas when we started, it may have been a 5, 6, 8-year learning curve on there. You can cut that learning curve in half, in a quarter. I mean, we see companies that jump up and are at that 3 trucks, $500,000 to $700,000 level within 2 to 3 years at this point.
Yeah, and that's how we did it, because we started in 2016.
Yeah,
and I have Doug and Ray to thank for that, because it's you guys taking and pouring out all the knowledge that you had, all the mistakes that you had made, the way that you could make it better. Because when I started, I was blasting houses with high pressure water. And I didn't know what a proportioner was. I didn't know what SH was. I didn't know anything.
Right.
And I had to go and learn. And I remember, Ray, you talking at a conference in 2016, and just explaining how to do this or that. And I was like, God, that makes sense. Okay, let me listen to this guy. Let me see what he has to say. And it's putting my ego aside and going, I don't know everything.
And then part of that is getting
huge part of it.
But getting in there to those conferences and seeing that and doing that, and it's where, unfortunately, in the 30-second, the 3-minute YouTube, TikTok videos that are out there now, you're only getting a little tiny bit of that whole picture of, yes, you can make that $500 an hour. Yes, you can, but how you're learning to do this is not on this YouTube video, or not learning about, it's not even going to be from a 45-minute class, I mean, it's going to be from relationships and building that and following and talking and, and things like that. And then y'all take it and make 3 days of it, of cramming it, into people's now on that one. You can't not go to that place and come away with your brain being full.
Oh, no, and you just have to concentrate.
You weren't there when he said it, Ray, but I think one of the best pieces of advice has already been given, and that was by Jonathan, saying, go there with a goal in your mind, and that goal should be, as Jonathan was saying, go there with the intention, I want to pull away 3 things. It doesn't matter what your number is, pick your number.
Right.
1 thing, 5 things, 3 things. I think 3 to 5 is a good number. Mm-hmm. And even though you're writing down all these notes and you're taking all these notes and you're doing all that, once you sit down after the convention is over with, go through those notes and pick out the 3 things that you want to focus on, and focus on those 3 things, because there's so much there that if you get going in too many different directions, you don't pick up just even one thing. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with somebody else, where people just don't put into action anything that they learn because they learn so much. And the other thing that they say is that I just don't have time to implement these things. But the problem is, if you don't implement them, you're never going to have the time. You have to waste it. Go ahead and spend the time to implement. That's what's going to save you time in the future.
Well, what's that? Plans without implementation is just a daydream, something like that someone said.
Yeah.
I think I may have heard that at the Huge.
So what are the future plans for the Huge convention, or what are some surprises that we may be looking for this year at the Huge, if any? I'm sure there are.
So yeah, there is a bunch, and I think the big.
We okay?
Yeah, I think he's typing.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I think what happened, what I'm doing is I was sharing this to, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, did we just breed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to have
Lord.
happens every now and then. You know how that is.
Yeah. I was sharing this to the Huge convention page so we could get some people in there.
Gotcha.
Got it. 10-4.
So, some things that you think might surprise us this year at the Huge.
So this year at the Huge, we are doing a ton of really cool stuff. It's kind of the same format, where you've got the general sessions and then the breakout sessions. We are redoing our vendor giveaway, which we're super excited about because it tends to be a bit of a chaotic situation on the floor. So the vendor giveaway is going to be actually during the second day of the general session. So everybody will win their prizes there and then go back to the show floor, claim their prizes. There is one vendor that is giving away a prize that is valued over $100,000.
Wow.
It is going to be an absolute game changer for somebody's company. And it doesn't matter what industry
you're
excited
you're in. To go, nothing will.
Yeah, $100,000, and you have to be present to win, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got that. We are doing more focusing because we're back at the Gaylord. We love the place, but one of the biggest comments that we got was it's so big that we lose the feeling like we had when we were in, say, Atlanta, and you can go downstairs, everybody's at that one bar, mm-hmm. and you can kind of find your people. So one of the things we're doing this year is on Wednesday night, we're having a welcome reception that's being sponsored. And then on Thursday, we're having these actual community groups. So we're having different people that are going to sponsor these like little pockets of people. So you can find out if you're a window washer, you go over here. If you're an epoxy floor person, you go over here. Or if you're a window washer wanting to get into epoxy floors, you go over there and you can ask these guys questions. And there are these little groups. And then on Thursday after that, we're having our giant concert where we've got, country stars. We've got a guy, he's currently touring with Vince Gill, I believe right now, or Toby Keith, maybe. He's touring with one of the big country stars.
Vince Gill is currently touring. He's one of the Eagles because I just saw him 2 weeks ago in Jacksonville. So probably Toby Keith. So
yeah,
gotcha. Yeah,
one thing that I noticed, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. One thing I noticed last year, and I don't really know how you wind up combating, dealing, with this, but it's like you would have some vendors that would want to do special vendor things for their people and go off and rent a bar in downtown Nashville.
Yeah.
And there'd be multiple things of that happening and pulling people kind of away from it. And like, let's say that all happened on a Thursday night out there, and it,
Yeah.
you know, drew people away from some of the festivities and the actions on that. But I get it from a vendor standpoint. Sure, you want to have a big thank you party for your customers that you love. So it's kind of a weird dynamic, you know, at that respect. So don't know quite what you do with it.
You know, it's one of those things. You just roll with it. And what we try to do is we try to make our event so great that people, you know, just want to be there. They want to stay. We want people to have the Nashville experience at the Opryland. So
I
that's
never
why
left
we
the
bring in
property.
the big one.
I literally never left the property. You know, I mean, I got invited downtown, and I never left it. You know, never needed to.
And we want to be able to do that. You know, provide you know, some really great people, some great opportunities just to, you know, stay on the property, hang out. We have the Nashville experience, because if you go downtown, you're going to get the same kind of music, and then you've got the drinks. You know, they're going to be about the same price at the hotel. They're Nashville's expensive. We have to
no matter what you do, it's expensive.
Yeah, but that way you're safe to walk back to your hotel room and go from there. So that's one of the things we're doing. Jason just asked anything for the young guns out there. Andrew is 13 and excited to see everyone again. Yes. So we're actually going to have a huge Kidgerpreneur 2-day event that goes on along with the huge. You have to be, I think the ages are like 11 to 16. And we're actually bringing in somebody that is a person that teaches children. They know how to teach kids, and they're teaching them about entrepreneurship. They're going to have activities, how to start a business. You know, here's what a P&L looks like, and it's put on the kids level. And we're going to feed them lunch, and they're going to actually go into the general sessions. So they're going to see our 2 keynote speakers. The first one is Michael Burnoff. He was with us last year. Tremendous guy, teaches about how to effectively communicate with your audience. You're probably using the wrong language whenever you're communicating with your audience. So he is an expert in what's called NLP. It's neuro-linguistic programming. Yep. And he's the man. He's probably one of the best in the country. And he's super, super good, super cool. He charges $25,000 a day to consult with him.
I have a funny story. I got to take an aside on that though, but to show you how well the NLP works, I have a very good friend who is a NLP teacher, and she would speak at real estate conferences, and you know, she was based here in Tallahassee whenever I met her. And I was looking over some of her work and talk about her sales packages, and she was like, you know, would you mind, you know, kind of proofing this? And I remember looking at her and said, she's like, yeah, this is the package that we ask people to fill out, you know, as whenever they want us to be a speaker and want us to maybe train their people on there. And I just laughed at her and I said, well, you say her name in case she watches. Judy, you're literally having the person fill this out and is telling you how to sell to them. And she just kind of laughed and she's like, you're 100%, you know, guilty. You know what, maybe I need to make this a little less obvious, but I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about that neuro-linguistic programming. And, you know, you pick it up and it's so important because you start mirroring your customers, and that theory behind people buying from people they like and that are similar to them, and, you know, body mirroring and imaging and things like that. And it's true. It's proven. And this lady became a very, you know, same thing, $25,000, $30,000, you know, a pop speaker out there. And it's so true, and it works, and it's good. And that's why a lot of big sales organizations have NLP trainers come in. Mm-hmm. And here we get it as part of the, you know, huge convention. And I'm sorry, go ahead. What was the other thing you were going to say? The other keynote? My apologies.
No problem. And what you're doing, you actually had a very, very good point there. What we're wanting to do is we're wanting to bring people that you normally can't afford and and bring them to the convention so that people can get exposed to these new kinds of ways of thinking.
Mm-hmm. And let's take on that idea for a second, okay? If you went out there and you had an NLP person and a marketing expert get together and let's say design 3 different ads for you, right? And all 3 different ads rang to different phone numbers or had different codes that were put in there. And they would come into your office and that one came in on line 1 and that was dealing from an ENFP Myers-Briggs type personality, and then the second one was dealing with a INF what's the opposite of but basically by the ads they were responding to, you kind of knew which ad they responded to, and you literally by what number they called in on there, you could literally tailor each sales presentation, each conversation with these people to what is going to be their hot point and their sales point on there. Guarantee you your close ratio would go just through the roof.
Definitely through the roof, yeah.
If you didn't have to spend the first 2-3 minutes of that phone call going out and figuring out how to sell to these people, if you immediately knew how to sell to these people, bam.
Yeah, game over. And that's the sort of thing that NLP will bring you. And he's going to be able to reframe the way that we sell. And he actually does a lot of crowd work where he walks through the audience and he just asks questions and he can reframe it on the fly. And I chucked out thousands of dollars of copy that I'd spent money for a copywriter, professional copywriter to do. Mm-hmm. And he came in, tweaked it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go and test this. I went and tested it. Closing rate went up. Everything goes, and I was like, oh my gosh, because he just knows what to do. Mm-hmm. The second keynote is a guy named Kyle Sheely. We're going to put some videos of him out because nobody's ever heard of him, but he is a crazy idea guy. He had a viral Viking funeral that he did. He had the world's largest fake marathon. And in his whole presentation, these are tchotchke ideas, and people go, I don't understand. It's really a business. But what he brings out is empowering you and also people on your team to come up with and suss out wild ideas that are going to make you money, wild ideas that are going to put your company on the map. What if you were to go into your community and host something that is absolutely bizarre, but people are talking about your company? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, did you hear about what so-and-so, wash company did? Oh, that was so cool. They, this thing, and it brings the community together, and having those ideas and figuring out how to formulate, because I'm not a incredibly creative person, but I can watch his stuff and go, oh, okay, now I get it, and start coming up with small ideas. But guess what? I don't have to be the crazy idea person. There are people on my team, if I know how to empower them, they're going to come up with the cool ideas. I've got Christina that works on my team. She comes up with the most amazing ideas and things that we implement. One of them I'll give away is dog treats for our customers, dogs. And we give them to all the technicians. It's a bag. It's got a whole thing. And it even has a little toy in there in case, particular dogs, some owners are persnickety about giving their dogs certain treats. We try to get organic treats. We don't buy crap treats. But it's things like that help, if the technician sees that the person has a dog or two, we find out what the names of the dog are. We give them this dog thing that goes in their file. So when the salesperson calls and hey, how are Molly and Gabby doing?
Yeah. How's Fido?
Crap.
Yeah.
No.
And you get a dog lover, a dog. That's why they call them fur babies now, Jonathan. Yeah. I mean, they're think about how many dogs.
They're bigger family than the kids are.
They are. I mean, and there's a lot of people without kids, and they choose to have pets instead. And you see pets walking through Lowe's and Walmart, and There are people that, they literally, in some ways, people treat their animals like their children, and
or better,
probably carry them to places they shouldn't necessarily carry them to because they love their critter,
Hey, before we get too far, Jason's asking a question. Is the kid thing part of the general ticket? Andrew has a regular ticket.
No. And what we could do for a situation like this is we would refund the regular ticket, or just basically do an upgrade. We got to charge a little bit more for the kid thing. One, we have to pay the person to do the thing, but two, we're feeding them 2 meals, and those meals are $65 each for lunch. Like, the hotel gets, like, everybody's being got by the hotel, and it doesn't matter whether you're at the Gaylord Marriott or you're at the Ramada Inn, they're going to charge you. Coffee costs me $110 a gallon. People are like, why don't we have free coffee? It's $110 a gallon. Do the math.
Because Starbucks is cheaper, believe it or not. Yeah.
Yep. Starbucks is way cheaper. I even thought about buying a bunch of coffee and reselling it, but I'd have to charge you $8 for a cup of coffee to break even. Yeah. It's a little ridiculous. But for our VIPs, we actually have a room that's going to have refreshments all day. So you're going to be able to go in there, get the coffee, walk in there, get a can of Coke, stuff like that. We're going to have a VIP room for people that buy the VIP ticket. And we're actually going to be giving away, I'm going to give you guys some VIP tickets to be able to give away to your people as well.
I want to talk about the goofy ideas. We weren't even doing Christmas lights at this point. And whenever these suits first came out, and I would literally, so this is, if you can read that, that's 2016. I know that it's old school now, and everybody has them. That was 7-8 years ago. And I'm walking around just thinking, this is the best thing in the world. I got so much noticed and handed out so many business cards. And this was right at whenever our company started growing by leaps and bounds. And so 2016 was like our first, over $700,000 year right there, after having been in business, for 5 years or so. And a lot of it went to doing goofy stuff like that just changed the industry. Now, I know that lots of guys that do lights, wear those things. And I'm not saying I'm a trendsetter, but it's amazing just how, like you said, you don't have to necessarily come up with the idea. You just gotta let somebody else come up with the idea and just do it.
It's amazing how doing something differently can really change, and not change. That's the wrong way to say it, but really get somebody to remember you, or to remember something about you, or something. Like, for me, as another example, is just using the neon green, for my trucks and all that. It was so in your face, and you couldn't help but notice them. And so, just like you with that outfit on, it's gonna be like, who was that guy? They're not even necessarily your customer, or didn't realize you were their customer, or they were your customer. And they say, who was that guy in that outfit? Oh man, that's the guy he's our wash guy. Oh, what does he want? It opens up dialogue and questions when you're not even around.
Yeah. Wow. Oof, squirrel. Oh, the soft washing pumpkins video that we did. Tens of thousands of views on that video, and it got us so much business. I swear, if I still had a wash company, I would go and dress my guys in ugly Christmas sweaters to wash with in December. Mm-hmm. I would get them matching ugly Christmas sweaters, and that's what they'd be washing in.
And if they were window washers, high-rise window washers, absolutely, I'd be getting them either ugly sweaters or Spider-Man outfits, or whatever kind of a thing. So,
absolutely,
yeah. And that's what's really cool about him, is he's going to be able to help pull that out of you, and you could walk away with one idea that's gonna make your company $100,000 over the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. 13-year-olds eat a bunch of food, man.
Yeah.
That's it. $65. That's a savings. Yeah. I went out for what was it, hamburger yesterday. We made some hamburgers, had our kids over and all that. And just a pound of hamburger, I mean, it's so expensive nowadays. You're like, really? Wow, that's kind of, out there. So yeah, everything. And everybody's feeling the same pain and the same stuff and, whatever. So it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then, so Michael's saying that I bought a bubble machine and run it at intersections. People take pictures, that kind of a thing. Yeah. If you can, I mean, squirreling off here a little bit, but like if you have, especially a logo like what Cajun Soft Wash was, where it's a character and you can have that character made. They're not that expensive to have them made and have it mounted to your car. The Shock Top beer, I don't know if you know what that is. It's a beer that they have, but anyhow.
Yeah, but it's a Bud Light brand. I won't drink it anymore.
Yeah, I won't tell you. But they have the Volkswagen with the shaved head thing on it. I mean, people would sit and take pictures of it. That's spreading viral whether you want it to or not.
Yeah.
It's good marketing. So
yep, do those weird things. So yeah, so we've got these two really great keynote people, and we very specifically choose people that are not in the industry because we want to bring people to a conference that you might not be able to see anywhere else. If you're not going to 100 different business conferences that have nothing to do with washing or whatever your industry is, then these guys, they're expensive to bring in, but they are absolutely worth it. They deliver the value, and that's what I like about the Huge is I would go, it's a couple $100 for the ticket, and then your hotel is $1,000 or so if you stay on property. And that's the nice thing about this is bring your wife, bring your family, because then you can write off a vacation. And at a really nice hotel that's normally going to cost you about $400 a night, it's going to cost you about $210 a night. And then my meals, and I'm like, okay, now I'm into this for like, say $2,000. It's like, okay, now I've got a mission. I've got to make that money back. And every time at the Huge, 2017, 18, 19, not 2020, that year's dead. But every
year's dead to me.
I would go and I would find my three things and I would implement. I would learn from guys that have been there and done that, and then I would make money. We would do another $200,000 or $300,000 the next year because of 5 or 6 things that I learned at that convention and then implemented.
Isn't that great? Gene just mentioned the spray wash wine. That was one that we did. And so, this is early on the we're like, what the heck could we do? I always remember getting nice Christmas gifts from people. That was something that was kind of pretty darn cool whenever, you got a Christmas gift to your executive type people. And we were still in our infancy and poor, but I remember like the second year in, I started making popcorn for my key people. And I'd go and rent a popcorn maker and I'd buy tins and the whole kitchen would be a production line of popcorn. And we'd do crazy flavors like dill pickle popcorn and butter rum popcorn. We can get these flavors and it was great because like 3 years in a row, we had customers calling us going, "Hey, are you doing the popcorn again? Are you doing a popcorn again?" Then we did wine and we would go out and we found this place, Stony Creek Wine Press. The labels were like $6 a piece and it was a nice label, a real wine label. And we would go to Trader Joe's and get the $2 Chuck. I don't think they have the $2 Chuck anymore, but the Charles Taylor, it was $2.99 a bottle. And we would put these $6 labels on there, and
the label cost more than the wine.
Yeah, literally, the labels cost more than the wine. We had spray wash wine.
Double.
Sometimes even it would be pictures of projects that we were working on for that particular property manager, like pictures of his facility. That gift had legs. I mean, it was pretty darn cool,
Yep.
So what are some things you see for the future of the Huge? Like maybe beyond this year or this year, but maybe beyond this year.
Well, it's hard to say because there's so much that is in the works, and kind of, the thought is, hey, maybe we have a winter event, because we get a lot of people like, I would go, but it's winter. The other thing is maybe there's a Nashville event and a Denver or West Coast event. But I think we just keep growing. We're getting more verticals, so different industries involved.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing something cool this year. It's called Podcast Row, where it's a company, and that's all they do is they travel from trade show to trade show. They all have podcasts, and you're going to get to either be a part of or watch a live podcast being recorded. Some really cool podcasts with a lot of listeners, not just somebody's got a pod. Everybody and their brother has a podcast, but these are guys with tens of thousands of hundreds.
Hey, we resemble that remark, damn it.
Me too. So anything that we can do to further education in the home service space is what we're going to do. Our trade show is going to just keep getting bigger and bigger as we invite more things. And the cool thing about that is, if you have a wash company and you want to get into a different vertical, or you want to see what else is out there, then that's a good way to do it. And we're really raising the bar. We've got classes this year on mergers and acquisitions. Marvin Salcedo is going to teach a class on that. He's got a huge landscaping company out in California, and he's going to teach, what do you look for when you're going to acquire another company? Because that is honestly the fastest way to grow is through acquisition.
And I'm actually surprised at how many guys I see buying the companies around them. There's actually quite a few guys that are doing that.
Yeah. And there's a good strategy for it, and there's ways to do it. And he's going to really teach on that.
Well, and it makes sense. I mean, think about it. That's how you get market share. That's how you can, especially if the numbers are provable, if the numbers they bear out, and it's one of these things that, we keep talking about. It's why you run your business like a business. And even if you're a 1-year-old, 2-year-old business, your data is so precious to you. Having this list of names, I mean, that was one of the things that whenever we sold was so impressive to these people, was that, holy cow, I mean, you're a 12-year-old company, 11-year-old company at that point, and you've done, projects you've done projects for 11 years. You've done projects, once a year you've kept customers this long. Yes. And I can tell you, I mean, give me a name. Oh, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson's been worth $4,382 for us. Look here, right at House Call Pro. Holy cow, that's amazing. Oh, wait, Tallahassee Community College. Yes, we've done that, project in 2016, 2018, and 2020. And Florida State University. Yes, we have, and so people aren't buying your company. I understand it. If you're a washer, nobody's buying your company because of
the cool pressure washer you have,
the cool logo, or no. Oh, you've got a hot. See, I heard those are really good. Or
36-inch service cleaner. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they're buying it because of the market share that you have, or the market position that you maintain in an area. That's it. They're buying it for an ROI. Plain and simple, And
that's one of the best ways to look at it.
Not because you're a nice guy, not because, anything like that. They're buying it because of some kind of market value or return on investment that you have. But that also make you understand it's valuable. What you have is very, very valuable. So even if you're a brand new guy, treat that data like it's gold, because I'll tell you what, it is.
It is, absolutely.
Yep.
Grabbing that market is. What's that?
Yeah, I say, your list is gold, and how you've nurtured that list over years. Whether they're they should be repeat customers, but they're also customers that you're keeping top of mind. And in any kind of good acquisition strategy, that's really what you're looking for, is somebody that's going to be complementary to your business, that's going to help you increase your market share. Right now I'm in the process of acquiring another local company, because I'm like, I need this particular market share. I need this thing. And could I go out and start a company similar myself? Yes. But how much harder is it for me to do that? Or I can take the money and just buy those customers, have them immediately, and then have the assets of that company. And this particular case, if it's a person that I want to work with, I bring them into my company.
Yeah. It's
let them stay on as part of it. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you get guys when you see a lot of the sales, like Brian Parrish comes to mind right off the top of my head. He sold his company to a guy and then stayed on as a salesperson for, I think it was about 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think he still does sales for him every now and then. And then he moves in and transitions with Christmas lights later in the day or later in the year. And then of course he's got his guitar shop, Brian Parrish Guitars, and really good at what he does. So, but yeah, that's what he did. And I'm seeing that more and more, where guys that sell and then they stay and transition into a different part of the company, even if it's on a part-time consulting style basis or something.
And this is one of those things that you really need to prepare yourself. If you are ever considering selling your business, chances are that you're not going to have some guy walk in and give you $50,000, $500,000, $1 million for your company and just say, here, I want it, I love it, get out, get out, go away. And we see this more and more. We see this with Fleet Wash, Crystal Clean. Yeah, we want your company, but not only do we want your company, we want it to prove out, and we'll give you X amount at this point and then X amount at this point, and your contract is going to be for this point. And those 3 dates might all coordinate, they might all jive, they might not. It's whatever you agree upon, but very rarely, and it winds up helping everybody involved there, because there's metrics that they'll want you to go and achieve, and that way you can maximize your value for the company that you're getting, while also adjusting it and twisting it and tweaking it and changing it around if for some reason you see those metrics starting to slip and fail.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, there's one. It's interesting company I'm doing some consulting with right now. It's a private equity group that is acquiring a landscaping company, a huge landscaping company that does, I think, a little over $2.5 million a year in EBITDA. So that's profit. Yeah, and the guy that owns the company, the founder, is selling because he just wants to de-risk. So he wants to stay on in a consulting role, which is great for us because he's got ways to be able to land contracts that, the PE group, they're not going to be able to step in and land those contracts. He's got relationships and things like that. And so we're structuring the deal so if he stays on and certain growth points happen, it's a win-win for everybody involved. The PE group wins. The guy wins. It's a beautiful thing. And when you can structure deals like that, it just makes sense. And that's one of the things that you get for coming to the Huge is you can sit in a class with Marvin Salcedo and learn about that. Somebody that has done acquisitions over and over. That's how he's grown his landscaping company into a multi-million-dollar beast, is because he does it through acquisition. He's going to teach how to get started in that, and not you're trying to jump on a train that's going 55 miles an hour.
Right.
This is here's your baby steps. Here's what your first acquisition should look like, and here's what you need to do. So things like that $189 for a ticket, and then you got a $25 off coupon for Spray Wash Academy.
Here's some of these that we were talking about that Gene mentioned about the wine. Pinot Grigio. Here's one that had the projects on it, for an example of projects we were doing, for people. These, these all started out life as regular bottles of wine. I mean, we private labeled them. And if you didn't want to go through the headache and hassle of putting your own labels on there, you could actually pay a company to do this as well. and they would do it for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or check with, I'm sure wherever you're at, I'm in Virginia, so you can't sling a dead cat without hitting a winery.
Right.
But, you know, wherever you're at, you find, you know, whether that's like, we have bourbon and wine in Virginia. We have a problem here.
Doesn't sound like a problem at all.
Yeah. But you find a local company to partner with that can help, maybe even co-brand it. You know, if you say, hey, I want to private label this thing, you know, let's work this out. And just coming up with those ideas that are going to set you apart.
Right.
You know, we do gift baskets. We have a local Amish store here as well. And so JC Chendowski, what's up, buddy?
What's up, JC?
So we got
to get you on, JC.
We were just talking about ugly Christmas suits, and I went back about 8 years in the past and showed mine. So
JC was still in the Navy probably whenever you had that.
Whenever I was wearing that thing, yeah.
So, you know, we do a bunch of local gifts in a box, and we hand deliver that for our big wash clients, and then for every one of our light clients, because our lights our minimum's like $2,500, so they're all big. And that's what we do. We give these gifts to set ourselves apart, because they think about us. They're like, that's so thoughtful. And everybody signs the Christmas card. We're signing Christmas cards for like 2 months prior to the season. And we just put them out like 20 at a time. Every technician signs them, and then we give them to the customer to show that we care, because we want to be different. We just don't want to take their money. We want to provide them an experience. And part of that is a really nice box.
You know, one of the nicest things not nicest, that's not the word we're looking for. One of the best things that customers still say, you know, is a personalized letter card, hand signatured. And I know in this day of digitization, you can still even make it look like that, but customers still get off on that, where you've taken the time to write that letter to them. That Tanya, you know, you've heard Tanya talk about it. Tanya was a hardcore thank you person. A thank you letter a handwritten thank you note. Thank you so much for your time on the phone the other day. I really appreciate the opportunity. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. And bam, mail that thank you card. And it is such an amazing tool because it's sincere.
Personalization is amazing,
and nobody else does it.
Not in today's day and age. And they even have machines out there that will mimic your handwriting, you know, kind of a thing, or do that your own handwriting, I guess. I mean, I think that would be a great investment. I think the return on the investment would be amazing, just from the aspect of you could sit there and have it write 1,000, you know, Christmas cards or thank you cards or whatever it is, and send them out.
Yep.
Sugar cookies. There you go.
I'm excited about the. I am so excited about the you know, the crazy marketing guy, and that sounds so much like, what is his name?
It's Kyle Sheely.
Kyle Sheely.
Yep. And we're going to put some videos on the Huge Convention Facebook page. We've got our website updated. All of our classes are on there as well. Our speakers, our classes. You get the title and a synopsis of the class. You don't get the exact schedule, because things change and things are in flux, and I don't want to publish the schedule and then they go, I thought he was, you know, Thursday,
I thought Doug
3.
was speaking at, you know, here's the idea of like one of the gift baskets right there with the wine in it, you know. I mean, these are and again, this is going back to 2013, guys. This isn't like, and again, we were still poor in 2013. I mean, but these are things that we're going in here and doing ourselves, and just get out of your own way and take care of your dang customers, you know?
Well,
people always like, you know, and I don't post as much on Facebook, and I don't go to the groups as much as I used to. And people used to always wonder, God, Ray, I follow you. I can't wait for Ray's. I can't wait for Ray's status in the morning. Guys, do y'all, and you realize my people that have followed me for a long time know that I did funny house, funny house, funny house. I mean, there was a system, and it was about engagement. Every fourth day, I'd remind people what we did at Spray Wash Exterior Cleaning on there. Mm-hmm. And people are coming. And if I didn't post for a day, I would get messages. Hey, are you okay? Hey, where's your post? Hey, what's going on? You can't buy that kind of advertising whenever you have customers texting you on Facebook going, where's your post?
I missed your joke this morning. What happened?
Yeah. I mean, and people doing things like, I want to see, and that's why you don't go in there and be nasty. You don't go in there and be crude. You don't go be political. If you're, social media you can have. Tanya and I are actually looking at starting a second business here on for some fun stuff, and I'm realizing I've got to go do a massive purge on some other social media that I got to get rid of it, just because it could be even some over on Twitter. I'm not nearly as nice as I am on Facebook. I've got to get rid of my Twitter account. It's got to be gone, because I don't want this kid friendly site coming in here and doing that. Here's a great one right here. The popcorn that I was telling you about. Dill pickle and bacon cheddar popcorn. I don't remember what SEO was, and pizza flavored popcorn. And we would literally go and turn the kitchen into an assembly line of popcorn. Yep. And just any bigger customer, they got popcorn,
whatever they want.
And you don't have to have a bunch of money to do that.
No, the popcorn rental, the popcorn thing was like $30 for the week to rent it. Popcorn's cheap.
Popcorn is stupid cheap. Yeah. And then throw the flavors in there. Well, we're right there at about an hour. So you had said you had a coupon code for the Spray Wash listeners out there today. What? And you said it's the same thing as it was last year's Spray Wash.
It's just SWA.
SWA.
And they just go to the hugeconvention.com. There's videos and stuff like that. You can just click buy your ticket. There's a place to put a coupon code in. Just put in SWA. It takes $25 off. Also, if you're bringing your team, like Mitch Wood just said, their tickets are only $125. Mm-hmm. And all you do is it's so much easier this year to register. You just register yourself, and then it says, hey, do you want to add another person? And if you add another person, it automatically does $125. So you'll be, $189 right now before ticket prices go up, minus $25 for the Spray Wash coupon, $125 for extra people. You can do a VIP ticket. It's I'm not sure the price. It's $800 and something, but you get so much stuff with that. You get a lunch, you get the room that has the free stuff, you get the Q&A. We're doing it better. We actually have this year, instead of just me running the entire event, doing everything, we have a really cool team of people. So we're going to have a VIP liaison that's going to take care of that. Vendor check-in is actually happening at a different location this year. It's going to be downstairs right at the vendor area. We just have so much logistically that's changing that's just going to make it better and better. Because when people give us suggestions, we take it serious.
Right.
Because you guys are the ones that attend. We kind of knew what to do because we attended. The ownership group, all of us except for one rando guy, own wash businesses or businesses that are in this industry and have attended the convention for years. Mm-hmm. So we know.
So as we wrap this up, what do you anything last parting shots you want to throw out there, Mr. Jonathan?
Just get there. It's like I said, it's super inexpensive to get there. Even if you have to pull a Pat Clark, you buy your ticket and you get there and you sleep in your car. Mm-hmm. That's what changed his business. And honestly, if you can't afford a ticket, DM me, please.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, by the way, and also, you know, there's the campground there as well. I mean, you know, all seriousness, there's the campground, and I'm not
Matt
being
did that last
facetious
year.
about that, you know. And I remember Daniel that came in from Alaska that time, hung around. He was you know, literally slept out, camped it out for a show in Savannah, Georgia, because he felt that he wanted to go. He had such a short window. He wanted to open exterior cleaning business in Anchorage, Alaska. You realize how far that is? I mean, Anchorage, Savannah.
It's almost as far as you could get from
from point A. Like Miami would have been further, but there wasn't a show in Miami at the time, you know. But he literally camped out the whole way. This wasn't like a, hey, I can go and you know, pay for Hamptons, you know, every night on here. But if you want it bad enough, you can get on it and get after it, you know. You don't have to go in there and stay at the Opryland. You don't have to do that. You can camp out. You can. I mean,
hell, you can pack your lunch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Bring some bread and bologna. You know, because people, there's other thing. People are like, oh, the lunch is too far away and it's too expensive. I was like, man, I don't know about you, but I got sandwich and meat in my room.
Yep.
Well, you know, and there's another thing is you can partner with others, right? If you get 2 queen beds, or, you know, 2 queen beds and 2 cots, even. I mean, if that's what it takes, you know, and it breaks you down to $60 a night if there's 4 of you in the room, you know. There's a lot that can be done to be able to get you there and to be able to learn and do, and then. Just I remember the Atlanta one. Don't stay across the street. The vibrating.
And Doug's Motel 6 down there.
Yeah. That was horrible. And that's the thing, you know. I mean, that is one of the good things about where we're going, is that you're probably not going to run out of rooms. Where in Atlanta they ran out of rooms, and I hadn't gotten my room, and when I called to get my room, they're like, "Dude, we're sold out." And I'm like, "What?" You know, so I had to sleep in the Motel 6.
Yeah, there will be rooms. Our room block is, I say limited. We have 1,000 rooms. We're expecting about 2,000 people there this year. So get your room now. That way it's secured. And right now you have your choice of room. Like a lot of people, they wait till the end, and there may be some rooms, but it's called run of the house rooms, and you don't get your choice of what, you know, do you want a suite? Do you want to, are you going to bring your family and you want a place to put the kids? You want kind of an upgraded suite that's going to be, you know, $325 a night. You know, it's not going to be $3,000 a night, but you get that suite, you upgrade your room, or you get, you know, the faster you get your room, the closer you are to the convention center. So
that's a good one. Yeah, I know a guy that cyberstalked the Huge for tickets his first year going. Turned out well. So, you know, so far for his company. So
even Agent Green says, screw this up in Anchorage. Ain't that the truth?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Jonathan, we appreciate you, and hang out for just a minute as we wrap up. We'll chat for a couple of minutes, but really appreciate y'all for listening to us. And remember, Huge conventions coming up in August 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Nashville. And man, if you can make it, I highly encourage everybody to do it. Just come with, like Jonathan said, the plan on at least taking 3 things. Even though you get a whole bunch of them, take 3 things to implement. Make that your goal. So appreciate y'all for listening to us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.